Hello, everybody. Welcome to Legion of Memers Memestream Saturday edition. We only have a Saturday edition, so thank you all for being here today. Chat is popping off, and we got a very special guest here. We got Marc the Cyborg on.
Hello, I'm just adjusting my camera so that you can see both myself and my puppy. But
and he's doing it with his mind.
Yeah, entirely with my mind. I don't have a mouse here or anything. All right.
So what's up, Marc? How you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I got some things in the works. I've been lucky enough that twice this week I got rated on my stream by Nerdrotics channel, so that was interesting to have like 500 live viewers on my channel. I'm like, hi, everybody. Yeah, it was a fun time, and a lot of people stuck around for quite a while watching me play Yakuza games. So, you know.
Yeah, I pop in every now and then during the day just to like watch and like hang out with you. And those Yakuza games, like I'm watching it and I'm like, I can't believe I could not play this game. I'm so frustrated. I couldn't play that game.
Oh, I mean, they're so good though. They're Yakuza. It's such a weird series to describe to people because it's almost like you can't accurately do it in a way that does it justice. But effectively, I think the best way I've summed it down to is picture an anime or a manga about Japanese crime family. And I say that more specifically to a movie because the shit in Yakuza is over the top. So, like I'm saying, like think of a manga that's or just a shonen anime or manga about a badass Yakuza guy. And it's long running like One Piece or something like that because there's a million stories in it that have been going on since the early 90s, or sorry, the late 90s or early 2000s. Yeah, it was PS2. So yeah, for 20 years. And what's crazy about it is if you jump around the series, you can kind of understand any given chapter. If you like, so that's kind of the reason why I'm like, these are actually kind of cool to stream because even if you haven't been sticking around to see every single game we've played, you can kind of hop in. And if you hop in at the beginning of a chapter, at least for the one that I've been playing, the Samurai one that I'm probably going to finish tonight after this stream, really. I've got 4 chapters to go. And while that would seem daunting to me a year ago, like I'm slaughtering Yakuza chapters. So I figured out the way to get through the stories of them quickly so that I can stream what's effectively the movie aspect of it. The thing about it though is in addition to being something that you can compare to a purely narrative medium like anime or manga, they are video games, man. Mm-hmm. Like they never forget for a second that they are over the top kind of homages to Sega arcade games, which makes a lot of sense because effectively it's Virtua Fighter RPG. It's what Shenmue was trying to be, but Yakuza actually did it, and people didn't people were so busy trying to get people to make Shenmue 3 that you're like, yo, better Shenmue's been coming out for a while though.
The way you just described it there, if you didn't know how to describe Yakuza, it's the evolution of Shenmue. That's the way I've always kind of pitched it.
But more so than that, the Shenmue is another branch off the same seed, I would say, and that seed is Virtua Fighter. In addition to the Dreamcast, or oh god, I forget what the name of it was. The Dreamcast was based on an arcade board that Sega had.
Yeah, the Naomi board.
Naomi, yeah. So and that Sega had a lot of success in that era in coin-op arcades, in addition to home consoles, because all of a sudden all of their crazy-looking arcade games looked exactly the same at home, and that was a pretty big deal for stuff like Crazy Taxi and Soul Calibur's Namco, but still same stuff. And I think they always wanted to have a Virtua Fighter RPG, like have a fighting game, but it's not just a fighting game; it's a beat 'em up. But instead of just being Streets of Rage in 3D, it's going to have a story, and it's going to be like reading a manga, and you're going to it's going to be a grand adventure that's going to be told over a bunch of different chapters. What's neat with Yakuza is they don't do the Shenmue thing where they blue ball you off the bat and say, oh yeah, this man killed your father to find a mirror that was buried by like the tree in the backyard. There's 2 other mirrors or whatever, and it's going to take us 7 chapters to tell this. And I believe they don't even conclude it in 3, although I haven't played.
No, it ends on another cliffhanger.
Yeah. But with Yakuza, though, every single individual game has a complete story. Like there is an arc that begins at the beginning of it that will be over by the end with the main antagonist of the world at the time, because the world in question is one district of Tokyo called Kamurocho in general, with a couple other places that you visit. But it's just the story of Kamurocho. because one Yakuza evil boss guy has been defeated, doesn't mean there's not another one trying to take his place or dealing with something that happened 2 games ago that's now coming back because the fallout of that game has created this new faction that's now causing problems. So they managed to have it be very, very compelling stories. But as you're going through those stories, you're not just sitting and watching cutscenes. You're in one of the most over-the-top, insane video game worlds you can imagine that only exists when you enter a video game action, like a fight. So I heard it explained by someone else in my stream chat actually a couple days ago, is the way Yakuza fights happen in the street is it's like they exist in pocket dimensions. So it's like you're walking around in the JRPG and then you get into your random encounter. Every single knife that you stab into someone and gun that you shoot is not canon. Like they are items in a video game that you're just using to do more damage, just like throwing a fireball at someone in Final Fantasy. Because if like honestly, if a Final Fantasy Fire Raga spell worked the way it would in real life, everyone in that universe would be burn victims. Like that does like 200 points of fire damage. Okay, we get it. Whereas a gun does less damage than some of Kiryu's kicks. So like puppies. Rocky.
Well, I think we got a lot of video game news coming out this week, so we're definitely gonna get into more video games. But before we do that, CJP, let's get started on intros. What you been up to this week, mate?
Well, I had on the Forgotten One cast this week. I had the Gamersician on, and we were talking about he's got an album coming out called Another World that we were talking about, and it was his YouTube channel where he does not only music, but he does do nostalgic game streams. Is Chrono Trigger still good? So he'd do a playthrough of Chrono Trigger or Secret of Mana or things like that. So it's been a lot of fun to talk to him. And then next week I've got TJ the Gamer from Master Sword Music coming on. I'm going to talk about a lot of the projects that he's been working on. So show's booming and gooming.
Sweet, man. I love to hear it, man. We're all putting in the work, and everybody is growing slowly but surely. Keep up the good work, guys. True Pop, what you been up to this week, man?
No, nothing much. Mainly been memeing on side scrollers, working all the time, which, to be honest, isn't pleasant. But hey, need to keep this roof over my head somehow. And I've been watching some other streams, some Friday Night Tights. Soups, you were really happy with the guest today.
Yeah.
So
Legion of Members called me out, told me not to paint.
Yeah. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy we're joined by Marc. I just remembered listening to Jeremy on one of his streams, and he described Marc as like one of the nerdiest people ever. Like he'll talk about something for like 5 minutes straight, and then he'll realize that he has to kind of stop himself. And we just asked him like a Yakuza question here, and he just talked about it for like 7 minutes straight.
I want to make it very clear. Marc is probably one of the best people for content when it comes to his rants. Because Marc, I've edited some of your stuff before for shorts, and there is no dead space in between. And I absolutely
you have to do a lot of cutting out dead air with my.
I absolutely love it. It makes editors' lives so much easier. And you guys know what? If you guys just want to go watch Marc's stream, have some fun, go meme it, make some videos. I'm sure Marc would appreciate that.
I have a meme challenge that you can do for my videos, because they're not my edited ones, like not my ones that I produce, but any of my rant clip outs or any stream I'm on, really. Pay attention to the times where I run out of air before I finish my thought, because that does happen. I end up kind of talking. I finish my sentence.
All right, guys. Marc, sometimes a breath meme. Let's see that. Gasping for air.
Yeah, it's
the guy breathing in
all the time, but it does happen a lot, and I feel bad about it every time. I'm just like, oh.
Don't feel bad. It's great content, man.
Yeah.
What do you got coming up this week, my dude?
No plans. No big plans. I know I've changed the schedule to my True Pop Culture 7 show. I can't keep doing it on a scheduled date. A lot of guests are busy on weekends, so I try to adjust it to the guests. So people watching, you might be approached as a True Pop Culture 7 guest. And it's usually at a weird time, like late in the night for me in the weekdays. That's fine with me, to be honest. I can work around that. So
how
yeah,
people
prepared for some interesting
are
guests.
you going to be promoting it on your community tab or?
Yeah. It's gonna be like set up as soon as I set up the guest. Then it's gonna be scheduled, so you guys won't be able to miss it. It'll be like a good 24 hours that it's scheduled in, so you guys don't have to worry about missing it because it will definitely be on the channel. I made a Kick channel as well, just because I've noticed that, I'm probably going to have to sometime soon make a live streaming channel, because live streams, man, they just kill out growth on YouTube completely. So yeah, be prepared for a live stream channel. I don't know when exactly. I would like to get a live stream channel monetized as soon as possible, which is why I started Kick. Might be easier on there. But yeah, again, happy to be here. Happy to have Marc. He's a right old nerd, and like that guy.
Marc's been a big supporter of this channel and Legion since pretty much the very beginning. So
Marc, I have to ask you, are you in full support of Echo? Like, do you feel represented as one-legged person?
I'm at the point I just couldn't care less about the MCU. I'm just
that's right.
It's one of those things that you'd figure like I should be like, oh yeah, man, but like that's my moment to go viral because I'm the amputee talking about Echo. I'm just like, no, I don't care.
Marc, I think you should reenact some of the fight scenes.
I mean, I'll tell you this much: the one where she has that kick that she sort of is early on the queue for, or he's late, or one of them. I'm just like, how did the editor not the beginning of that kick, like before when she stops, the frame that she stops, zoom in, like do a keyframe zoom to her leg on the frame where she starts moving, and then zoom out as it's hitting it. That's all you would have to do, and it would have made that hit look totally fine. But it's like, no, we have our wide shots for our one-shot fight scenes. It's like, you don't have the stuntmen to do that, okay? you need to have people like Tony Jaa or like the guys from The Raid, like they can do one-shot fight scenes because they're unbelievable stuntmen. You're Disney. You can hire anyone you want. You've put the Raid guys in fucking Force Awakens, and they did nothing.
I haven't seen a kick whipped that bad since Return of the Jedi.
I mean, even then, like Return of the Jedi, there's so much going on in that shot that I never even noticed it growing up. Seriously, I didn't really pay any attention to it. But that one it's clear as day because it's the only thing happening. It's two figures in a backlit room, like light coming from the back. They're basically silhouetted. You can see nothing except their full bodies, and there's no time adjustment. There's no keyframe zooming. There's nothing that in post they could have said, yeah, I can make this look better than it does. Give me. So
I have a challenge for anybody who's in the editing game or wants to get into it. Copy that clip and redo it.
Yeah, no, like you could do it easily. The only reason I haven't is because again, like I just don't care. About like that fight scene was like that's retarded. I could have fixed that in 20 minutes, but I'm not going to because it's like no. I'm Disney. I'm not going to try to be like, oh, see, I edited Echo into a good show. No, I don't even want people giving a shit about any of it. Okay, it's the MCU. We just realized that they've really destroyed a lot of their world building, and now they're kind of fucked. So their best bet would be, have Deadpool reset the timeline or some shit because that's one of the few movies you have where you can meme. And like people might not be too pissed about it, and then go away for 10 years. That's their best move.
So we're gonna get into Marvel, we're gonna get into Disney, we're gonna get into all that. But let's get to Extra Zero's intro, man. What you been up to this week? What you been making? What you been having fun on?
I haven't been up to too much. We've just been dumped on with snow, but I had a great day today. We made some filet mignons. I finally got to test out one of my Christmas gifts. I got a pair of Chef IQ thermometers, which are really nice Bluetooth probes that you can use for cooking, and they're graded up, or they're rated up to like 500 degrees. So you can actually put them in. You can actually submerge these in a deep fryer, and they'll be okay. So did a couple filet mignons, tested them out. They work great. And it's been having a quiet week here, and it's been a little scenic with the snow and a little annoying with the dogs because, I feel bad for them. It's like every time they have to go take a shit, it's like them having to do the polar bear plunge. Especially my girl love's having a hard time with it. Like she dogs do this very autistic thing where they have to find the perfect spot. And I'm like, Maggie, there's snow everywhere. You're not going to find a great spot to shit. So just shit. So she'll do like this, I have to shit cry. And she'll give me like these like sad eyes, like, the scene in Puss in Boots when he's like, that's her eyes. And then I let her outside and she's like, wow, I don't have to shit that bad. And then the moment I let her back in, she's doing it again. So
creatures that lick themselves constantly, they really do look ashamed when they shit.
Yeah, well, apparently they're watching their six. They're worried that's. I mean, I guess in nature, like, if you're going to become something's dinner, it's like, you're pretty vulnerable when you take a shit.
To my assassin, I'm most vulnerable between my second and third wipe.
Rest in peace, Elvis.
I mean, even Biggie Smalls was paranoid about it. I mean, what was the line? He's like, I keep a shotgun by the shotgun by the shower if you want to shoot me while I'm shitting. Was the lyric.
I always look behind me just because I don't want some Irish guy popping out the back and choking me with his lucky charm bracelet.
Damn.
I'm like one of the 7 Canadians who have
I'm
guns.
only half Irish. Come on,
not
Rox.
worried about anything.
Like, Extra Zero, I mean, at least you don't have any ice around. Like, we had a little bit of snow,
of ice.
but it's just,
it
God, you could
is
just slip
very
yourself and die.
Yeah.
The
sun hits it and then it melts and and then it freezes because it's 11 degrees here right now. So, but otherwise,
even the fun kind of snow,
Yeah.
And I am Superman. If he wasn't scared of green rocks, leader, creator, and founder of the Legion of Memers. I have been working, and I'm going to do my best to make it to the meetup. And when I say do my best, I mean even if I have to pull an all-nighter, I will be there. So if you guys are going, I will see you there. Come give me a high five and just say what's up, and we'll have a good night. So let's give a shout out to chat. Without them, we would not be here today. So Extra Zero, can you start bringing them up?
So first up, Skirmitar saying almost late, and I mean, he said that almost 3 hours before the show, 2.5 hours before the show.
As I was working on the show, he did that. We also had Kenzo hopping in saying, miss you guys. Hopped in a little bit earlier in the show because his internet connection is not very good. But
he doesn't have internet for a minute.
I just punched myself in the face with my headphones.
Oh.
Good news is I retrieved my coffee.
It's a good meme opportunity for that.
If I have a partner, though, just know that it is not X-Ray Girl who did this.
So guys, get some why are you hitting yourself memes going for Marc, I think are in order.
Or just have X-Ray Girl.
Girl's old headphone. My headphones died on me, so X-Ray Girl gave me these razors she has, and the little frame here is like pretty sturdy wire, like steel. But I think like a coat hanger if it seemed immovable. And as I was grabbing my headphones off to keep them so they were safe, so I could get over to where my coffee was because I'm an idiot. I left it over on the bar. And then I just smacked myself in the eye, pretty full force. And
I gotta see an animated version of that, guys. So if you guys have any scenes that you could think of where some guy hits himself in the face with headphones, I definitely want to see that. There you go.
That's what happened, and it was a hunk of metal that hit me in the face, and I was like, "Wow, how did I even do that with headphones? Ow!"
Yeah.
We got Cellshade hopping in using the LOM tag because he is a Legion member, so he gets to use that very special logo on there, which unfortunately we cannot see on StreamYards, but it does hop in there, which is great. It says hello and hail the Legion. Hail to you, my dude. We got Tris hopping in saying hello, who's been killing it on the meme game. Keep up the good work.
And speaking of killing it on the meme game.
DJ McLean made a video that I'm probably not going to be able to play on stream just because South Park will probably yeet our entire channel. But great work on that. The Marc, if you haven't had a chance to see it, it's actually in the thread. And maybe have X-Ray Girl in the room so she can laugh at it. Because I guarantee she's going to laugh at that one.
I think she's upstairs playing either Power World or Genshin Impact. So I don't know if I'm going to be seeing her for the rest of
probably.
How dare you guys keep X-Ray Girl from Marc while she's streaming?
I also wanted to thank DJ McLean for making me not the oldest member of the Legion. So
we got Wiki B Bad hopping in. I'm sorry?
Am I the oldest? I'm turning 40.
No, I mean, in terms of actual Legion members, McLean's now the oldest. I'm not the oldest anymore.
You know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter age, sex, race. As long as you actually make good stuff, that's what matters to me.
You guys want to know the two things that you have to do in order to properly handle your age on the internet? Tell people about it and don't lie about it. And don't try to have sex with people who are children. That's what you need to do.
Yep.
Oh my god!
So if you are attracted to me, I'm married. So off the bat, no.
Damn it, Mark! Why are you gonna pop our bubbles like that, man?
No, but like the thing is, that's the only things you have to do because you never, especially if you're a guy who has blankets like this around because they're for my puppies, they're not for me. Like you can easily get accused of like, oh, this guy's trying to be like super young. So I'm like, no, I never want people to think I'm younger than I am. I will always tell you what my age is. And,
if the beard doesn't give it away.
Yeah, because you don't ever want to seem like you're trying to coax an audience like that and profit off that, even if it's indirectly, and be like, well, it's not illegal. Because that's basically the whole controversy would happen with Twitch and everything, right? The Twitch is effectively become a porn site, which no one really has a problem with porn sites. We have a problem with it being the kids that channel. That's like, okay, any kid can go on Twitch, watch Fortnite, and be like, oh, titties.
Yeah. Don't flirt with minors. Minecraft YouTuber challenge, impossible.
Yeah. But I mean, like, other than that, like, you don't have to worry about your age on the internet. Because what's the worst thing that can happen? Like, what's the age that you can't be on the internet? Is there a number? Is it 80? Because I think like there's a point where you're so old that you being as old as you are and still being on the internet is kind of what makes you cool. Like
Skyrim Granny, remember her?
You know, I want to see like 150-year-old on freaking online. I want to see how uncensored they would be.
I'm just saying, there was a 90-year-old dude who knew a shitload about comics, and Gary had him on FNT, and he was like shooting the shit about Daredevil and stuff, or like real BBC or something like that. I think everyone would be like, man, that guy's old as hell, but he knows his shit, because you know old people tend to know.
Well, I mean, or you could just watch Gary's stream.
Well, I mean, you know, Gary, we don't know Gary's true age because, you know, he's a wizard and, or I don't know, do they just appear?
Shout out to you, Gary. If you're ever going to see this, I'm joking.
I think like in the fellowship, like people really don't mind like an older age.
Yeah, just don't be a
watching, you know.
And everybody,
I think I'm disadvantaged. I don't think people like younger, stupid people like me. So
just
that's the impression I get.
I'm just no, but like say that you're young because then it's like, okay, well, whatever. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'm learning. So if I'm wrong about anything, I have an excuse. What's yours, old man? Like there you go.
I mean, at least True Pop can tell us what's the price of
and like I mean, honestly, and then if you ever slaughter someone in a debate, it's like, well, yeah, I'm like, say you're 21 and I just schooled you, 35-year-old person with a master's degree. Like what? How do you not know this? I thought it's what you do. You know, but there's also value. And I mean, what I do is I talk about video games primarily. Part of the reason why, I mean, not even part, a massive aspect of the reason why I know as much as I know about video games is because I was old enough to have conscious memories a long time ago when I started playing video games. And I formed a lot of memories from that point. And you can't really do that if you're 18. Like, because you couldn't have spent 30 years playing video games and learning them, comparing them to each other, analyzing them, remembering them. And yeah, that's, I think, so I think my age, me being a 40-year-old man who talks about video games is like, that's not an own, man. Like, it's just like, yeah, that's why I know shit.
Let's continue on giving shout out to the chat. XP0, you want to bring up the last one you brought up?
Yeah. So we had Wookie B Dad saying, "All hail the Legion."
Hail to you, my dude. Keep killing it. He's been doing some great work editing. I took a bit of time. I think last week after the Legion show, I had about an hour and a half. Got a few people together and showed them how to like get started on it. And he's been doing a great job. Keep up the good work, my man.
And then next up, we've got Culture Pop with B-Hop saying, "Hell yeah, Legion."
Hell yeah.
It looks like we're getting some speak up. I can't hear you. And is that me or was it?
No, it's due to their age.
Oh, no. I'm saying D-Day McLean. I was wondering if it was an audio
because
issue.
he says he's the oldest one. Because he's the oldest one here. Speak up.
What? I can't hear you, Sonny.
So Marc apparently is getting dementia at 40.
I thought it was an audio criticism. I was like, oh, wait, are my levels too low? Because the DJ equipment you guys made fun of me about, I can change them.
We got Jack Tarlad hopping in saying, hail chat, hail the Legion, hail to you, my dude. Menastep hopping in saying, hail, LOM. Cellshade hopping in with the emoji for the Legion of Memers. Here we go. Dylan Romer says, hail League. Probably meant Legion.
It's probably autocorrect being over.
Camelot 331's in the live chat, but wasn't showing up in the top chat. The only reason I knew he was there was because Kenzo said hi to him.
Shit. That is awesome. Hey, my dude.
We got chat popping off in here. Let me highlight that. We get Camelot calling us bitches.
Hey, man.
Well, I agree. They all are, apart from me.
On the planet anymore. That's why they're Camelot.
Female dog right here, everybody. JoJo is a girl this season.
Hell, Mr. Black, my dude. Thanks for hopping in.
We got Marc's co-host in here, Nerdy Neo, saying, "Hey, great guest today." And
yeah, party chat's a fun time every other Saturday on Nerdy Neo's show. Everyone subscribe too. Let's get them monetized.
We've got a friend of mine. We got the Internet Crusader in Black Belt saying, "Hoy,
ahoy, hoy."
So I think that basically gets us caught up.
Sweet.
I saw one from Professor Savage Dad in here. He's got a bunch saying, hail, Extra Zero's alt doppelganger. I'm curious who that is. And Insidious Bliss also coming in with a hail. Good to see you in the chat. We got a bunch of people in here. So if you are watching us live, also we got Release the McCracken popping in here.
And just so you know, Camelot, I can see the chat now. I also have the YouTube one up. So my co-host will yell at me to check the other chat. So before we get started, let's give a shout out to Coffee Brand Coffee for making us part of their affiliate program. If you guys want to support the Legion, go get that 10% discount next time you get the coffee with the code HAIL the LOM extra. Run that ad.
Here we go.
Are you tired of the grind of everyday life? Are you fed up with not having any energy in the morning? Do you feel like your life is colored in grey? And does life, for some reason, play sad music everywhere you go? And does it also rain everywhere you go, even though you don't live in England?
Well, turn that frown upside down. The Legion of Memers is here to give you some chuckles, you dingus. And we're happy to bring you something to help give you that extra kick to get you up in the morning. Introducing Coffee Brand Coffee. Fresh roasted with no gimmicks and plenty of flavors to choose from. Use code HAIL the LOM to get 10% off and to help support the channel.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, everybody who has been buying Coffee Brand Coffee with our Legion code. You guys absolutely rock. I appreciate you very, very much. And Camelot, if you ever want to be on, just DM me, and I'll send you the link if you want to cause havoc on the Legion of Memers stream. So I really wanted to get into the community topics today because this week there has been a bunch of news about meetups. Marc, are you going to any meetups?
I will be going to the Vegas one in April. But no, I'm not going to Megacon, though. That X-Ray Girl's going to that, but not me. I don't have the leave left for the year. But our fiscal year changes over for the Canadian military that I am still in at this point. Our fiscal year changes over on April 1st, and so I get a new set of vacation days, basically. And
Extra Zero, do me a favor, bring up the Megacon poster so we can bring it up on screen so people know where it is and when it is. If you're gonna go to Megacon, make sure to go say hi.
Get that up here, and let me get that shared out right now. There we are. And there it is. Why is it not coming up?
It's not.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go. So MegaCon, Orlando, February 3rd. So it's right around the corner. 2 Saturdays from now.
It looks like it's going to be a heck of a party. You got Ripa, you got Nerdrotic, you got Critical Drinker, Geeks and Gamers. From what I hear, the Florida meetups are something not to be missed. So if you
sisters are going to be there too, the writers of the Yara book, and I became a fan of theirs when I read their Black Widow book, which is really, really good. It's called No Restraints Play, and I strongly recommend it. So I'm recommending a modern Marvel book to you right now. But
that's the one where they go after the traffickers, if you will.
Yeah, it's kind of there's elements of the film Hostel in there, and it's pretty awesome. You'll read it and then you'll just be like, they made the Black Widow movie that they made when this was just sitting here. Like
Marc, I hate to interrupt you, but we just got our first donation from Streamlab. Insidious Bliss just tipped $50.
Yeah, right on.
You absolute bad lad. Thank you very much. All the funds from now until Vegas will be put into the Vegas fund, where I could go to Vegas, and hopefully I can help pay for other people to go to Vegas. We're not big, so I'm going to do what I can. I did save up a little money from my editing job, so we'll see what happens. But big shout out to you, man. Thank you so much.
We'll note on this is at the Orlando Convention Center. I was there for Star Wars Celebration 2017. It is a really nice convention center, and it's massive there. And they've got theaters and whatnot built into the convention center, so they're looking to have a really good venue for this.
Yeah, I mean, Marc, I wish you were there. I might just I would have gone down maybe if I would have known y'all.
Lots of people are going to be there, and I'm sure it's going to be a great time. It's just like I just can't make it work. It's not happening.
It's on a weekend, isn't it?
Either way, like true pop culture can tell you for sure. I'm just gonna be shit faced. So, I'll be very nice to everybody. Like I'm generally pretty chill to hang out with, but like at the same time, it's like we'll probably have more productive conversations in this venue than we will.
Confirmed. When you go to the Vegas meetup, expect Marc to be wasted.
I'm not like a heavy drinker or anything like that, but I do tend to party when I travel.
And you know what? If he's not wasted, go get him a drink.
Yeah. Why would they give me all sorts of different mixed drinks though? Because I don't want to be puking. You want to keep it in your pocket.
Okay, so you're saying no bitch cup.
I don't know. Just like don't give me like absinthe or something crazy like that, man. I don't.
Give him a bunch of Jaeger, guys, and we'll see how it is tonight.
Just get me a beer. Trust me, I'll put it away.
Jaeger and Red Bull, because it's basically cocaine, from what I hear.
Well, see, that's the thing. You want to give me a heart attack? I don't want to party with you, man.
Unacceptable. In Poland, we drink vodka straight off.
So, also, during the Dallas, Dallas Expo, the Dix division will be having a meetup as well, most likely the 5th or the 6th.
Well, Brown Bull saying the 7th through the 9th is the expo.
The meetup is likely 5th or 6th.
Yeah.
So, do me a favor, follow them on Twitter, Comic Division, and what the heck was that?
I don't think it was me.
No, True Pop. That's your boom mic.
Did you spring a leak?
That's not me.
Well, somebody's got to admit to that because somebody farted or something like that. It's
definitely not me. I don't have a boom mic.
On your headset, you have a boom.
I was muted. My puppy was growling. Okay.
Metastep has confirmed it's the feds.
And let's give this.
Self Shade is asking, Marc, are you guys any chance you guys would do a meetup event in Toronto?
I mean, I would love to. I'm just not sure how many of the big name YouTubers would actually come out to it, because most of them are in the States and for some reason feel like if they enter Canada, they'll just immediately become a liberal or something. So
the freedom gets sucked out as you leave the border.
I don't know. They seem to be really opposed to doing anything in Toronto. Granted, Toronto is kind of like, Canadian San Francisco, so there is that. At the same time, I've not spent a whole lot of time in downtown Toronto lately. I live pretty close to it, but I still have to make a trip to get there.
Well, it looks like you have like 2 people who would already be going.
Well, I mean, that's like I'd be up for doing it, but like I mean, it would be like me, X-Ray Girl. We could probably get Short Fat Otaku maybe because he's a few hours away from us, and
you get Melee Games.
Sometimes he lives in Toronto as well, so. But that's like it's not a whole lot of us, and we're not like huge draws. So it's like, well, I mean, Would anyone want to go to this? It's almost kind of embarrassing to throw that as a meetup and not just be like, yeah, we're going for drinks.
I mean, you could always call it a hangout instead of a meetup.
Like, I mean, yes, but that's what I mean. Like, as far as doing a large scale meetup that has its own poster and stuff, I don't think we're going to be able to get enough people who will want to come to Toronto. Even the bigger name people we know who are Canadian, like Star Wars Theory, he's in BC, and the Soskis sisters, they're in the West Coast as well, which is like 6-hour flight away from us. So it's really not too much different from Americans as far as travel time. It's just we don't have to go across the border.
Oh yeah, I've been looking to flying from Vegas, UK to Vegas, and it's a 24-hour trip. Can be sometimes, or sometimes 12 hours,
those
depending on
pain, man.
Yeah, so definitely, I've never traveled to anywhere further than Poland or Malta, really. So anywhere in the European region,
Well,
I can't
you
imagine.
went to the UK because that's where I met you.
Yeah.
Oh wait, you live there?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. I thought you were.
Where did you think I lived?
I don't know. I thought you were like Nordic or something.
You saying you're Polish, so we keep thinking you're in Poland.
Maybe, yeah.
You
You don't have a British accent. I wouldn't say it doesn't sound like you grew up there. At least, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going by how you sound.
Okay, interesting. That you're the first to tell me I don't sound British.
I love how you emphasize that.
British.
Am I crazy? Like, is it only me who thought that he was like Scandinavian?
No,
it's a good guess. Like, it's
know
not bad.
Pop culture, so like.
I mean, again, I'm trying not to narrow down a specific country because it's not like, oh, I knew you were from this region of Germany. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm not saying I understand. I didn't even realize XQC was from Quebec until someone pointed it out to me. Okay, on the EPAP episode. But what was funny is when they did, I then understood him. I was like, oh, it's like I got the Rosetta Stone. Okay, I get it. I understand everything XQC was saying. Everybody, I can translate.
Mark's gonna get roasted for this.
I'm 100% full blood full.
That's a repeat, but I guess me not understanding true pop culture was British is a bit of a known. I don't know. I thought. Am I like?
No, I'm not Brit. I'm Polish, Mark.
No, dude,
I'm Polish,
I
raised in England.
I hear it. Like,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
But real quick, let's give a shout out to the big XRP-ness, who learned keyframing from the Legion of Memers stream where we actually walked you through keyframing real quick, and he did a 1.5-minute video of keyframing, and he did a very good job.
Give this guy a follow. He's really talented. He's also been putting out music. He did a track for us. We've been trying to figure out where we can use it, and I think we're going to try and do an audio asset collection down the line. But definitely give this guy a follow. Let me go ahead and give this a play here.
That's the one who tried to blackmail me.
So, fat woman, are you the boss around here or what?
Oh, it's Kung Fu Hustle.
Hey, I'm with the Axe Gang.
Axe Gang my ass.
Boss!
Boss my ass.
Oh God. You give me nightmares.
My ass.
How about a date?
Take my ass.
All right, pause it before we get hit for. So go check it out on his Twitter. Mark is probably going to check it out after the show.
And watch Kung Fu Hustle.
Yes, absolutely watch Kung Fu. A great comedy film. Freaking amazing. Also, Shaolin Soccer.
Yeah, Shaolin. I prefer Shaolin Soccer, but both are great.
Both. I love those those kind of Hong Kong comedy movies.
The game scenes in Shaolin Soccer, the way they're shot, I think that's what puts it over the top because the shots where it just looks like a televised soccer game, but there's like crazy CGI kung fu shit happening is like, it's so well done because it really just looks like, oh man, if this was a sport that I could just watch on TV, I would be watching every single game.
For me, it's Kung Fu Hustle because the old lady very much reminds me of my ex-mother-in-law.
That's funny. I mean, my X-Ray Girl's mom's nothing like the old lady from Kung Fu Hustle. I mean, she's as skilled in a fight, but not. She's
hello, X-Ray Girl's mom. Do not hit Mark the Cyborg with your shoe, please.
Again.
What's the Asian equivalent of chancla?
Well, yeah. Anytime a mother takes off her shoe, you run. Doesn't matter whose mother it is.
Hey, there are a few things in life that are as scary as meeting your girlfriend's parents. So, definitely a scary experience.
There was another thing
joke.
I wanted to share with you. Perry Chan made something absolutely incredible.
Oh yeah, I gotta play Ready or Not with Perry. Ready or Not's a good video game, everybody. Perry Chan plays it.
Extra Zero, can you bring that up?
Yeah, let me make sure that I've got the right one. Is this the wrestling one?
Yes.
Right.
I did remix it.
Remix
Hey,
it.
my dude, thanks for hopping on, man. I'm loving your progress videos. Keep it up, man. You are absolutely killing it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and give him a follow on YouTube. Steel Leg of History, I believe, is the channel. Really, really cool to see him thriving like that.
A fellow one-legged man.
Yes.
A great dude. And yeah, just go follow him, go, support him. He's been a great supporter of the channel and myself. So shout out to you, my dude. Can you just make this full screen? Big shout out to Perry Chan for releasing this. Mark, have you seen this?
No, I've not.
Okay, give it a play.
A superstar who's been grinding his teeth at the performance center as of late. Yeah, a consistent work ethic is what you're talking about, Michael. He's not someone who will
Az versus Nerdrotic.
Gets him with the counter.
Are they playing a
I think he's doing a bot fight.
Characters.
Yeah, I think he's doing a bot fight, but I really do want to play this game.
That's pretty wild.
He did use some in the comments below, like some AI as well. Because you can't. It's not as customizable as you'd think, the wrestling thing. So
no, they are. I
even remember in like old PS2 games, the character creators in the wrestling games were wild.
Oh yeah,
they were really in depth. So, and I've not played a wrestling game in probably 15 years. I'm not like a wrestling guy, but I mean, I respect it as a sport, like as an art form, but not as I'm not a fan of wrestling, so I don't really play a wrestling game.
There's a channel I watch called Smokey MCC, and he does locale wrestling, where he's created, or he's had a guy in his community that's created like all the locales, and he'll just do this, and then he'll commentate.
Wait, when Nerdy Neo there says AI versus AI, does he mean like it's a bot match?
Bot versus bot.
He's just created characters, or did Perry like go in and adjust the faces to make it like more
set
accurate?
their stats?
What I mean is they're really good. So I'm wondering if Perry just did that with the game's tools or with his Perry Chan magic.
You know who'd be great at explaining that? Perry Chan. Why don't you come on Legion of Gamers, explain it to us in in-depth detail?
He has it in the comments of the video.
I know. I don't want his comments. I want it on the show.
All right,
I'll work on it.
Extra Zero, do me a favor. Bring up the other
we have
one
that for Christmas.
Is in the notes, because I have exclusive footage of Dan Bask actually playing this game.
And this is like the WWE 2K23 or something, like the newest one.
Yeah.
Or is it 24? I don't know. What are they on right now?
23. 24 is not out yet.
I think it's a
or
few
maybe
versions
22.
back. Extra, you got it?
I got it. A copy of it that I gave away on my locals because I'm like, I'm probably not going to play this. So.
I have exclusive footage of Dan Bask playing this game.
Oh yeah, so no, it's just the character. Yeah, no, it's good. Oh, okay, well that is it's the Joe Rogan, Brian Callen.
Victory for him in this match.
And yeah,
I didn't realize it was a meme. I thought that was just Dan Bass streaming like him playing as the two characters. You guys are messing me up, man.
I did this at like 12 a.m. Thank you,
I just
Terry.
need to know when I'm watching a meme, honestly. And then I ask questions about the production. You're like, no, ask the person who made it. I'm like, man, I didn't know this video existed until 10 minutes ago. Give me a break.
So yeah, have fun with it, Perry. I hope you release more of those and release them to the public. Because I can almost guarantee there are going to be a whole ton of memes coming out of it. So I know you're working, but I would love to see more. Now, let's get into a little bit of pop culture. So, Extra Zero, whatever you choose, we'll start off with.
Yeah, let's kick it off from the top because I thought this was an interesting one. This comes from Lunar Archivist on Twitter. It says if only there were movies where characters were able to make lasting impressions on audiences while wearing masks almost the entire time. Of course, this comes in response to, I think, the rightful criticism of the Halo series, where Rebs Gaming writes, Pablo Schreiber, who plays Master Chief in the Halo show, explained why Master Chief doesn't always wear his helmet. Quote, you're not going to be able to bring an audience along in a long form story without having access to a character's face, which tells you what they're feeling.
I feel personally attacked here.
Yeah. And of course, Lunar Archivist goes and shows Rorschach, V, Darth Vader, and I forget.
V is all you need, really. It's
and of course, wrong Dredd here, but Carl Urban.
I think you can make the argument that Carl Urban's Dredd, you still do see some of his face, so that it's not the same as a Halo style, like a Spartan mask that covers everything. But I think the argument's over with V. Like V for Vendetta's V, you can't say that guy doesn't have a range of emotions and expressions, and the body acting, including how he's moving his head in conjunction with Hugo Weaving's delivery of everything. Like that character rocks, even if you don't like the movie. It's hard to say that V wasn't a compelling performance done by Hugo Weaving's voice and a mime.
And it may be the worst in the trilogy, but Tom Hardy's Bane, he committed to the mask.
Yeah,
for that role. I mean,
I'm sorry, Metastep. I'm sorry. My acting is shit.
Oh, so you're pretending to be a boomer then?
I'm sorry, but the acting in Red versus Blue was better than what was in the Halo show.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That actor did add, by the way, that he tried to stop the sex scenes from happening in the Halo show, but there's nothing that could be done.
Speaking of sex scenes in the Halo show, why don't you bring that up?
Don't leave me, puppy.
Wait a second. Is that in the notes?
Yeah, it should be.
Oh,
I don't think it was.
Yeah.
I can do the entire V word speech on command.
Halo.
I memorized it.
Okay. I'm sorry. I see it down the list. Let me go ahead and we'll pull this up.
Blabs coming in saying, I hope that's enough.
Hang on, you missed the extra E's, like the last 20 or 30.
Don't do this to me again, Blabs. Please, thank you.
All right, so from IGN, Master Chief actor Pablo Schreiber agrees with fans that season 1 of Halo shouldn't have had a sex scene with the super soldier. I argued against it and fought against it. Well,
you didn't fight hard enough.
But
Mark, did you see the Halo show?
I saw the first episode and it was enough for me. And then I watched a few people's coverage of the subsequent episodes and didn't have any desire to watch it. But the idea of there being like she-twink arbiter that's human, but is also like works for the Covenant, and John has sex with her, I'm just like, you guys are out of your fucking minds. Like, what do you do with any of that? Like, that's ridiculous. Why did you make a Halo show if that's the show that you wanted to make? So again, it's kind of like where I'm at with like MCU and effectively Star Wars at this point too, where I'm just like, show me something good and I might be interested, but I'm going to assume your stuff's bad, which is why Andor kind of surprised me, because it was actually really good. And I would not have expected that to be the one Star Wars show that ended up being good. The one about a side character in Rogue One, or at least a character. I mean, the dead part, it's like, well, I mean, I don't know. Like, Darth Vader's dead. I'd still watch anything with Darth Vader in it, really. So, like, everyone's dead. I mean, at this point, everyone's dead. Who's alive? Right? Like, in current timeline Star Wars, it's nothing but Dave Filoni characters who still have a heartbeat, man. And I don't really care about most of them. So it's like, well, I don't know. I don't really care about that. But I thought Obi-Wan could be good, and it was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my entire life.
I haven't even gone the effort to go see any of that.
Body.
I'm not going to ruin Obi-Wan Kenobi for me. Like, I'm not even going to expose myself to that.
I'll just read the book. The book is far superior.
It won't ruin Obi-Wan for you at all, because it seems like a non-canon fan film made by elementary school children. It's like it's about as canon as a doodle would be on a napkin. So it's because you can't take it seriously. Like, there's no way. You're like, it was the first Star Wars thing I've ever seen where I was like, I don't even think the people who made this will make the argument that they made something good. I don't believe that they believe it's good. Whereas at least The Last Jedi, the one thing I could give Rian Johnson, as much as I think he's an idiot, is I believe that he believes he made a good movie. I don't think he thinks he made a bad one. I think he thinks he made a really good movie. And you know what? I at least respect that a tiny bit. Because like,
well, the same thing with JJ.
Yeah, well, no, not for Rise of Skywalker especially. In Force Awakens, JJ just does what he always does, which is set up a bunch of questions and then hope someone else answers them in satisfying ways. So, like, whatever. I mean, but my point is, though, Obi-Wan, I'm just like, wow, you guys dropped the ball in every regard. Nothing about this is good. Nothing about it's good. So anytime people are like, well, I enjoyed Obi-Wan I'm like, stop. Wrong. That's kind of where I'm like, I can't even give it an inch. But Andor, I watched. It took me a couple tries to get into it because it starts slow and it's not very compelling, and you don't know what it's doing. However, if you give that time and let the things pay off, and especially if you get to the end of the prison arc, like it's later in the season, but it's not the last thing that happens. It's some of the best Star Wars has been since OT. I'm not even going to say since prequels, like since original trilogy. Like Andy Serkis's performance as Kino Loy is one of the best performances that has been in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Again, watch it and disagree with me, sure. Just please don't tell me I watched 5 minutes of Andor, is boring as shit, I'm never touching that again, so it sucks. It's like, no, you didn't get to the stuff that's worthwhile. Like you just didn't, because it is not a super snappy show as far as how it's paced in the beginning, but it's a very good telling of a story of a dude who just wants to ignore the world, and circumstances make it so that eventually the tyranny becomes so overwhelming that he can't ignore it and realizes that it's up to him and every free citizen of the galaxy to stand up against it and fight. It's the origin story of a rebel, and it's done really, really well. And it's done as if Star Wars is a serious thing where stormtroopers will kill you. So, like, that's another big thing. The Empire, not the Emperor. The Emperor is not in it. The Empire is scary in Andor. You actually believe that they will murder you, and that they don't glorify that as just, oh yeah, you know, like whatever, the 5 planets got destroyed, I guess the New Republic's gone. Like, it's not shit like that. It's like, no, you got shot in an alleyway by a bunch of stormtroopers who just gunned you down. It's that kind of stuff that you're afraid of in the show. So it shifts the stakes to not being intergalactic space opera with space knights, which, like, you know, I mean, I was all up for that for most of my life, to, hey, why don't we tell a different story in the same universe? Let's tell the story about the rebels, the people on the ground. What would you do if you were in the Star Wars universe? Because newsflash, you're probably not a Jedi.
You're probably just a peon.
You're not a world-class opera singer or gymnast or football player or hockey player. You're probably not a Jedi. It's a very relatable story, told in a way where there's a lot of really complex moral motivations for a bunch of the characters. In particular, Stellan Skarsgård's character he's basically the proto cold spy of the rebellion, like the guy who will get help from a bunch of people and set things up for them and make sure that they help the rebels, but kill them all afterwards so that they can't tell anyone about it.
Yeah, and he's justified means kind of guy.
Yeah, so it's how he then comes into contact with Cassian and how they develop each other in a lot of ways. And I think it's better than any other Disney Star Wars for sure.
Yeah, I just wish that Andor grabs me more, because I keep getting told that it's good. Watch it. The story is fantastic, but it's just like, I don't know. Those 2 first episodes just did not grab me, but I keep hearing what you're saying exactly.
I mean, it's seriously the kind of thing that you'd usually like, okay, I'm going to watch this, assuming that it is a show that will probably develop into something worthwhile. Because, I mean, okay, the first few episodes of The Sopranos were pretty funny, so it's easy to get into. But the tone that you get in the first 5 episodes of The Sopranos, that's not the reason The Sopranos was a great show, right? Or likewise with Breaking Bad. I mean, like the really great stuff, the stuff that's like, no, this is best in class tier stuff, that you kind of need to give it more time to at least have a proper perspective on it. And I mean, granted, there's going to be people who are going to watch Andor and be like, yeah, no, it just didn't grab me. The performances were good, I guess, but I just didn't really care about the characters or the story. And my response to that would be like, yeah, fair enough. You know, you're not going to like everything I like, but trust me, like the easiest thing in the world for me to do would just be to be like, oh yeah, Andor sucks. Disney Star Wars bad. The hard thing to do is in the midst of the friggin' torrent of shit that's just been flying out of Disney with the Star Wars logo on it to say, oh, one of them's good.
Speaking of shit coming from Disney, have you guys seen the new Percy Jackson show?
No,
I have not bothered.
So yeah, I'm not.
I think Blabs did.
Dario in it. I'm not going to watch any of them. So I was like, okay, well.
So Blabs is actually 100% correct. This show is shit. If you guys are a fan of the books, I wouldn't recommend watching this. I'd go watch the movie before you watch this. Acting was dry. It was boring. And I 100% agree with Blabs on this. I'm sorry?
Is this Disney also, or is this another company?
It is Disney. Yeah, it's on the Disney Plus.
Didn't the author write the script and like supervise it?
Maybe, but the author is also
yeah. He race swapped some characters. Now, right. So now that Percy Jackson is shit, I'm really worried for another Disney Plus show, Eragon.
Aragon?
Yeah, I call it Eragon. I don't know why. That's how I pronounce it.
It's actually making
anyone could be confused about your accent.
So just so you guys know, if you guys like Percy Jackson, I would not watch this just because you're gonna have a bad taste in your mouth. I had to go watch some other mythical stuff after this just to clean my palate.
Soups, would you say the Logan Lerman one, the movie, would be better?
Yeah, that's what I said. I made a tweet about it like a while back, and I said acting was dry, it was boring. Go watch the movie instead because it's far better. Not that the movie is great, but it is still better than the crap Disney just put out.
And then watch season 1 of True Detective.
Season 1 of True Detective was very good.
Hey, dude, honestly, it's one of the best seasons of TV ever.
I think
really very good.
True Detective season 1 has one of the best endings to a show, to a pop culture thing in general that I have ever seen. I did not see that ending coming at all. Like all of it was so bloody dour, and it ends on like such a happy note, such a hopeful note.
Yeah, or like that's the word for it. I think it's less happy and more optimistic than you think it's going to be because it features the most nihilistic character ever. And I got to say, all career best performance from Matthew McConaughey. And my theory is that he won the Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club primarily because of True Detective, because it was the same year. And I think they're just like, okay, he gave the best performance of this year, but it wasn't a movie. How do we give him an Oscar for it?
I mean, it was, I think that's the only season I ever saw of True Detective.
Let's be real, too. That was the one year that DiCaprio truly got robbed, too, because I think his Wolf of Wall Street performance was... I like Dallas Buyers Club. I think it's a good movie, but DiCaprio was better in Wolf of Wall Street.
Well, a lot of people speculate that he got it because he got snubbed for The Revenant. Or did he get it for The Revenant?
No, he got it for Revenant.
Yeah, that's right. He got snubbed with what was the other Scorsese movie with Jack Nicholson?
DiCaprio he's kind of like Will Smith. He got to a point in his career where he just started doing like, okay, I'm going to be in every Scorsese movie and I will get an Oscar. And it took him a very long time. So that's sort of why it became a meme. But I don't think I would say Wolf of Wall Street he deserved it for probably more than Revenant, like, honestly. I mean, he was good in Revenant. Don't get me wrong, and that's a very challenging.
The Departed. That's where people thought he got snubbed.
Yeah, although I don't know, I'm not sure that I would even say DiCaprio was the best thing about it.
No, Nicholson was the best in that movie.
I don't know, because he was amazing, but also Jack is always kind of Jack.
But in that movie he played type of sadistic. And Wahlberg was good in that movie too. That was probably the best.
And that's kind of the argument that I'm going to make. That I think the thing that makes The Departed really good is the ensemble more so than any one performance. Because I mean, with DiCaprio's, the twist in that movie being, hey, what is the protagonist of this story? Who are you rooting for? What side are we on? Who are the good guys? Like, it's now your protagonist is gone. What happens? Like, there's questions that are asked in Departed that I think are very, very interesting, and were also interesting in Infernal Affairs, the original Hong Kong movie, which I recommend. But yeah,
the thing about The Revenant though is Tom Hardy outacted him in that movie. Like, because Tom Hardy in that movie does so much acting with his eyes.
Yeah,
and just
Have you guys seen Taboo?
I've not.
No.
It's a show with Tom Hardy. It's amazing, but it kind of it's got cancelled before they could renew it for the season 2, so they kind of had to quickly finish it.
Was that his Apple Plus show or something? I remember him doing some show on a streaming service that I heard got, but I didn't see it.
He's kind of like the brother of some kind of rich guy, and he just came back from his travels from Africa, and he's all kind of spooky and mystical because none of the English people know anything really about African wild style, and they think he's some sort of shaman or something like that. There's a lot of taboo in it, as the name suggests.
I did see a similar thing to that, but it was actually Turkey Tom's video on Ezra Miller, which, God, you guys want to see a dark story? Anything you think you know about Ezra Miller, it's worse. Yeah. Wow. Mind blowing. But yeah, he considers himself a prophet. I guess.
Right.
The word shaman and spiritual leader has been used by him in reference to himself.
Yeah.
So.
There are so many documentaries about terrible people, like Boogie as well. I know EFAP watched that, and good God.
I mean, yeah, that's the same guy right now is working on a DSP one.
Well, apparently that's not happening now. Apparently.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, boo.
Hey, just real quick, shout out to Steel Leg of History for donating one gifted sub.
Thank you, man.
King. Mark, actually, I spoke about this earlier in Extra Zero. I see you dropped it.
I felt when Mark opened up with this, I was like, I got to put this story in the chat because it's.
So, Mark, we are going to bring this up, and what's your take on all this?
The New Game Plus thing. Explain to me how it works, because I've been trying to actually avoid too much news about this game because it comes out next week and I am going to play it. But is it you can't import your Like a Dragon save data into Infinite Wealth unless you get the deluxe edition? Or you can't do New Game Plus?
You can't do New Game Plus without paying an additional $15. Which
yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it's a bad precedent when, a lot of I have a lot of criticisms about Sony's first party games, but at least they always put New Game Plus. I mean, I'm very critical of God of War Ragnarok, but the Valhalla mode, the amount of work that went into that.
Valhalla is the exception, not the rule. Like,
right.
Valhalla doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. They could have charged $20 for that easily. Yeah. Same thing with what the DLC, the multiplayer DLC they put out for Ghost of Tsushima. So I mean, as a AAA,
but then it's not Sony, because I mean, just this week they released the same kind of mode that they released for God of War for Last of Us 2 for $10.
Right.
No story. And that, I shared that tweet of Greg Miller being like, I'm sorry, the Last of Us 1's better. It's like stabby stealth heaven. It's pure gameplay. There's no story to have to sit through. I'm like, motherfucker, you only play games that have stories more than they have gameplay. Don't act like you play it's saying you play The Last of Us for the gameplay and that's something you want to sink hours upon hours upon hours into is a self-own. Okay.
And the multiplayer in the first game was good.
At the same time, it's like, okay, but then you're playing multiplayer. You've got friends. Yeah. You're interacting with people. There's a challenge. There's a human intelligence that you're trying to outwit. That's not the same as playing a roguelike mode for The Last of Us.
I agree. And that's what I'm saying is they could have, if they brought that in there, it would have been more justified since it's already been designed.
Yeah, I don't know.
But even still, it should have been a free update. And Nancon, who did RoboCop Rogue City, they're doing a free New Game Plus because it wasn't there at launch. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
honestly, like that. My whole thing is I don't like the idea of treating New Game Plus as if it's something that should be added to a game later. Because I'm like, people have told me it's like, well, sometimes they need time to work on the new game plus. I forget who was making this argument. It's like, well, they needed extra time to implement it. I'm like, just reset the story progress.
Right. And this is New Game Plus is anything new. I mean,
let me keep all my shit and let me play the story again. And
Mario and Sonic always had it. You keep your chaos.
Chrono Trigger.
Sony, though, advertises their games as if they're big cinematic movie events that you have to see because their storytelling is second to none. I'm just like, why would you delay letting someone just go through the story again? Or treat it as if it's a feature they have to integrate. Now, granted, I like the Like a Dragon Now series, formerly Yakuza series, a lot, and I have bought this game, and I actually got the most expensive edition of it that I could get on Steam because I play a bunch of those games on Game Pass. So that's another kind of thing about Yakuza and Sega. You can play all of them on Game Pass.
To the point of that, do you think the Game Pass has something to do with that because they're getting a flat fee? And, it could be argued that the games, they reduce a lot of risk.
I don't know. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, I do not believe is on Game Pass day one.
Not yet, but historically, I think all of the Yakuza games and the Like a Dragon games have come to Game Pass within their launch windows. So I wonder if there's a lot of people that are like, well, I'll play it on Games Pass, or I'll wait for it on Games Pass, and maybe this whole, well, if they want to do New Game Plus, we'll get 15 out of them. I have Games Pass, and I noticed that, like, in the case of like Starfield and Forza, they're like trying to get you to buy the season pass by saying, well, if you want to play it now, spend $30 on the season pass.
That is potentially a reason that they implemented that decision to be like, okay, well, let's put a piece of worthwhile stuff against the paywall so that when it's on Game Pass, we might still be able to make a little bit of extra money. And I think New Game Plus is such a critical thing that locking that behind anything sucks. But I guess it's different that if they say, we'll be adding content to the game and additional missions and sub stories, because I don't know what their plans are, but like I'm saying hypothetically, if they're saying we're going to do that and that's always going to be updated on the Game Pass version for free because it's just in the game, and so we do need to find a way to monetize our post-game content if we're going to make any. Now, granted, if they're like, because the Yakuza games generally they don't do a lot of post-game content because the games are pretty stuffed with content as they are, and they just make a new game. Because basically every single game they've ever made is in some way or another a spin-off or a rebuild of that first Yakuza game that they ever made. And you could look at that as a bad thing and be like, oh, that's why they're stale. It's like, okay, I'll play some of them and then tell me that. But also it makes it so that they can make them on a very low budget, that they can just use the same layout of Kamurocho and have the same animators continuing to work on the buildings that they made in Kamurocho for the last game and importing them to new engines, adding new lighting effects, and constantly making them look better and better and better, which is now we've gotten to the point that all of the Like a Dragon games almost, it still has a bit of an anime art style to the character design, but they kind of look like real people in a lot of ways. So that it's not Last of Us tier because it has a bit more of a stylized art style to it. But
the main dude in Like a Dragon's a weeb, isn't he? He's like a dragon. He's obsessed with Dragon Warrior, and
morality was taught to him by playing Dragon Quest for like his entire life. And so he's always kind of wanted to be a hero, and that's why the premise is that the JRPG battles in Yakuza Like a Dragon and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth are in his head. He's picturing things as if he's in the middle of a Dragon Quest battle. So that's why you have menus that come up where you select your attacks and things like that. And so like they use that vibe to kind of get you into the game a little bit more. But my point is, the reason they've been able to get the visual fidelity up to where it was and still be able to make the games on low cost is because they iterate and they say, okay, here's our combat system that's worked. What if in this virtual fighter like combat system, we have you play as a different character? Okay, what does this character play like? What's their move set? So now you have a bunch of different styles that are in the game and different characters that use them. Lots of games let you use multiple styles as the same character too. And now they've gotten to the point that 20 years later, they've got a shitload of games out of that framework. And that's how we used to make video games. By like the industry, like God of War 3 happened because God of War 1 and 2 were made by the same people in a pretty rapid succession where they learned a bunch of things, they reused some assets, and then had the time to say, okay, now we're making one on the new system. Now let's take our time. But the iterative process, the only company that's really done it kind of other than Sega is From Software, and it's done pretty well for them, hasn't it? Because they've just been making Demon Souls over and over again since Demon Souls, but Elden Ring was
technically Activision with Call of Duty because they're still,
But yes, although I would
it's fizzling out.
But also, Activision spends an insane amount of money on Call of Duty, so it doesn't really fit into the same mold that I'm kind of talking about. I'm talking about like things that, like in Yakuza, they use the same character models, and it's
Ubisoft.
The one that I've been playing right now, Like a Dragon Ishin, which I would strongly recommend, is a historical drama put on by the character models of the Yakuza franchise. So it's like Ryoma, who's the main samurai dude that you play as, is Kiryu's face and Kiryu's voice actor. So they're working with the same people that they work with all the time. They fired out a script that was really good. They told a good story, and they're like, okay, this one takes place in Edo period Japan in like the late 1800s. So you have a revolver and a katana in this one, and it plays kind of like Devil May Cry. And then they can just make that game, because they have a lot of models that they're reusing, and it's not going to cost them, Insomniac with Spider-Man 2, $300 million that they then need to sell back on. So now, I mean, you could maybe make the argument that probably why they're getting a bit scummier with the additions in this one is because they're moving to Unreal Engine after this. So this is going to be the last game that they make on the Dragon Engine. And the series is sort of bigger than it's ever been. And I also think that Sega's realized that they can do really well by hitting the Japanese game niche market, because their other big, does anyone know what Sega's other biggest series is?
It's gotta be it's not Sonic.
You're correct about that. It is not Sonic.
It's
Mega Man.
No,
Nope.
it's Capcom.
I'll just say it. It is Persona.
Persona. Okay,
Persona is shockingly popular all over the world, and they make a lot of money, which is why I think it's a bad idea that within a week they're releasing their new Yakuza JRPG, and then they're releasing the new Persona, the remake of 3, that apparently is going to look a lot more like 5 and play it nicely.
Well, another thing too, with moving to Unreal 5, they're cutting their base down, because there are a lot of people, installed users that have PlayStation 4s. So they're going to force their hand into getting an Xbox Series console.
Yeah,
or
that said, Dragon Engine kind of like shit on PS4. So
it's way more. It's way past time to cut support for that platform or those.
Yeah.
Platforms.
Well, I mean, maybe. Although at the same time, I think the whole industry moving to Unreal Engine 5 is maybe not the best idea, because I've currently only played one game that is well optimized in Unreal Engine 5. Every other game I played, including RoboCop, that I liked a lot. Pretty stuttery game a lot of the time, though. And I think sorry,
Immortals of Avium.
I've not played that, no, but it also didn't seem interesting to me at all.
Yeah.
So I was like, well.
It was as cheap as $8 on Xbox last month. So I double dipped. I bought it at launch on PlayStation 5, and then I picked it up on Xbox when it was super cheap. And but it's actually a really good game. It's just EA did nothing to market it. It's an EA Originals title, so they didn't give it any marketing budget. It's a complete game. It's a single player experience, but it's very heavy on the gameplay. And if you were a fan of like Hexen or any of those sort of magic based first person shooters from back in the day,
the one for that genre I'd recommend is a Medieval.
I have that on PC. I got that as part of a bundle.
Have you played Black Labyrinth?
I have not.
It's so you're playing as a different character who doesn't have the axe that you have in the main game, but you have these gauntlets, and when you power them up and use the kind of right mouse click ability where you go into super mode, you become Star Platinum from JoJo. It's like you're doing like 100 punches a second. It's pretty wild.
Wow.
And amazing music written by the great Andrew Holschult.
Extra Zero. I see that you got another topic.
Yeah,
it works, ready to go.
Well, this segues right into what Marc was saying about studios going way over budget with games. We also see this in movies. We've known that Disney and Warner Brothers and other studios have had a spending problem. Well, Tatiana Maslany comes out and it says that She-Hulk season 2 is unlikely, and her insight on it is, I think we blew our budget, and Disney was like, no thanks. And according to Culture Crave, the season 1 budget was reportedly $225 million.
Yeesh, bro.
Yeah. For perspective,
Game of Thrones level money.
You can make 22 and a half Godzilla -1s with that.
Why would you spend that on She-Hulk of all characters?
Because Disney has a spending problem.
Mostly in her day-to-day life does lawyer shit as a green lady. Like, why can't you just paint a bodybuilder green and just have a lawyer court drama show? It was that fucking simple. And Marvel just thought, nah, let's paint this amount of money. It just tells you where their priorities land. They think, well, just because it has a Marvel logo on it, it'll make money. We can spend however much we like.
The problem is that they're not willing to do, they're like overloading their CG artists. I mean, months and months ago, maybe it was 6 months ago, and I've been trying to find it. On this show, we talked about the abundance of CGI, and there was an image of Nick Fury, of Samuel L. Jackson sitting in a room, and literally everything was a green screen, and he wasn't even holding a gun. He was holding like a piece of plastic with ping pong balls on it. If they were to just use practical effects, like they could have gotten a body double for her and had an actress that they either painted her green, or they even did that, you know, in post where they changed her skin tone. Instead, they have a completely CG entity that's on screen at all times. You know, how much of the backgrounds are CG? Do they actually have office spaces? So it's like they're not smart, and they're not willing to use practical effects. And I have a friend who is a big Disney defender in real life, and he's told me, oh, well, you know, for countries where they can't have guns, like Saudi Arabian countries, this makes it easy for them. They can just swap out objects. They can change things. They can censor things. They can move stuff around. But is it worth that cost instead of just getting a decent editor where you can pan up and, okay, you can't show Nick Fury holding a gun? Well, just pan up and show his face and imply that he's holding a weapon. Or, you know, oh, we can't show somebody getting shot. Okay, we'll cut away from, you know, from
or
the
you could just tap out on getting the money from the authoritarian theocracies.
Or that. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you go back to Iron Man 3, and I remember they had the articles about, you know, celebrating how, you know, that was like when they were really trying to pander to the Chinese market, and they were like, oh yeah, we have these two giant Chinese actors making cameos in Iron Man 3. I think it was like Li Bingbing, I think was her name. And you know,
I think she played Ada Wong in one of those.
Yeah, she did. In like that sixth one. Well, they were trying to make her an international thing here, because she was also in the Meg, and then she ended up having, if I remember correctly, she had some sort of fallout with the Chinese government.
Based.
Yeah.
Speaking of fallout, oh, wait a minute. We got Mephisto hopping in, and he's giving us a raid, man. Hell yeah. Mephisto.
Hey, Mephisto, thank you.
I love you, dude.
To see you, dude.
I actually wanted to cover this because I didn't see a lot of people talking about it, but apparently Harry Potter they're working on shows for Harry Potter, and discussing film doesn't seem to want to be discussing it.
Yeah, this is
I mean, we're going to, though. Like, shut up. You're doing it now. You're discussing it now. The show's not even shot yet.
They closed responses to this because they knew the kind of feedback that they were going to get. You know what I want? I want them to do the same thing they did for the Harry Potter game because it sold so well. So you know what? Go boycott it. Do it. See what happens.
You mean the person who created the universe is going to be involved in a show about the universe that she created? No!
Wow.
That's no.
Whatever happened to that Chrome extension that adds comment sections to things that don't have comments? People can leave comments under anything. I forget what that was called, but I always thought that was a really good idea.
I never heard of it.
It basically is like a social network that exists in your Chrome browser that you can open up a comment section on any website anywhere at any time, and it's one that's shared by all the users. So if it's like comments are blocked, it's like, okay, let's go see what the comments are though. And then if you find there's a million responses, it's like, okay, a lot of people are using this, and just being like, okay, can't use Twitter replies, so we're going to use the Chrome extension. I forget what.
Who's who like feedback I'd want to see this. I want to see Blabs' review of this Harry Potter show when it comes out, because she's like a super big Harry Potter fan, way bigger than I am. I know about it. I'm just not so invested in it. But it looks like Extra Zero. Are you sharing the quote tweets?
No,
I just wanted to share something.
Yeah.
Oh, true. Sorry, True Pop. Go ahead.
So this is just absolute cope on their part. Like the fact that they did just outright call her transgender screams to me that they're saltiness. And whenever someone copes, I love to play this. I'll only play 5 seconds. I don't think it's copyright. Just this little cope animation. So.
Coping and seething.
Yeah, I watched this. I was like, I want to play this on stream, but I don't know if it's.
That's all I
don't know if it gets you hit. But go check out True Pop Culture's Twitter for the full video, because it is very, very good.
I love it. If someone has a good clip or video, I will instantly snatch it and tell you that I snatched it. So be wary on my Twitter chat to see some memes. But no, it's fascinating that discussing film of all things is blocking replies in that post, even though the whole point is to discuss film by now.
Haven't they blocked people for quote tweeting in the past, where people have had like the most minute criticisms?
And, discussing film doesn't like discussing anything.
Yeah.
Discussing film blocked Mr. Bug as well.
Yeah, that's who it was. It was Mr. Bug that I was thinking of. And he had like the most innocuous response or quote tweet, and they were just like, nope, you're black.
I'm telling them like straight up, biased reporting, go cope. I still haven't been blocked. So I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
How do you?
Well, they probably got thousands and thousands of retweets on there, so they're probably not going through the feed, just raging about everything. That's why they closed it, because they didn't want to be bothered with it. They probably turned off notifications as well on that conversation, because they knew the kind of feedback that they were going to get.
Mm-hmm.
But Marc, I actually wanted to ask you, you're a big video game guy, and I wanted to ask you,
yes,
what was the giveaway?
Indiana Jones game, are you interested in playing it?
Yes, although I'm
cautiously optimistic.
No, cautiously pessimistic is probably a better word for it. I like the developer. I think Machine Games has made some very good video games. They've also made a couple kind of mediocre video games that still have great aspects to them. Like I think Wolfenstein: The New Colossus is a game that plays really, really well. The writing gets a little weird and goes a little crazy. I kind of like.
Think it should be first person?
Yeah, absolutely. If Machine Games is making it, 100%.
Well, it is. It's confirmed to be first person.
I
know, but should it be?
No.
Yes, it should.
No, because if you're playing Indiana Jones, you want to see him, not his fists.
Don't give it to Machine Games then. They're first-person shooters.
Well, no, absolutely. They should. Machine Games should not have this. And then also,
then we're talking about a totally different game. Like that game doesn't exist. Machine Games made one. So what we're asking is, should Machine Games have made it a first person or third person? And because I've played a lot of their games, first person. I'm telling you, yes. I'm 100% sure that this game is better than whatever it would be if they tried to make a third-person game, because it would be the first one that they've made outside of the thing that they did pull into this game, because they Machine Games was formed by guys from Starbreeze. Starbreeze made a game on Xbox and PC called The Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay. And it did the same thing, where it's a first-person game, but when you do traversal or like sneak through a vent or climb a pole or something, it cuts out to third person while you're doing that. So you get to see their like Vin Diesel character model and how crazy it looks and something. And honestly, that original Xbox game was mind-blowing as far as like visuals were concerned. Nothing had ever been done like that on a console.
I think they're going to try and mimic Metroid Prime if they're going to have the Indiana Jones elements.
I'm saying it's something they've done before, though. Like these guys did that in the Riddick game. That was a lot. They just haven't done it since, because there were no sequences like that in the Wolfenstein games, and that's what they've been making.
Well, yeah, the Wolfenstein games have a lot of hub missions where you're
walking around like your home base.
Yeah,
but it's never third person. It's always first person that you're walking around on those as well. So like, I mean, again, like if we're talking about Machine Games, Indiana Jones, because that was the game that was announced like 2 years ago. If they showed off a third person game, I would be like, yeah, this is probably going to not be very good. because it's
I don't know. Sometimes developers can do it where they move from first to third person. I mean, that's part of versatility. I mean,
I see that I wouldn't call them a versatile developer though, because they've only ever made really good first-person shooters.
I think New Colossus, well, not New Colossus, but the expansion's debatable when they focused on multiplayer with BJ's daughters.
Youngblood wasn't them though. That was Arcane Austin.
That was okay. Well, that makes sense. I hate Arcane as a studio.
Machine Games co-developed it in that they made most of the weapon assets and everything. Yeah. And they I think they had some say in the story and everything. So I'm not defending them for the writing, but the writing in Youngblood, it wasn't.
Well,
great.
Speaking of the writing, what do you think of the senior narrative designer?
Honestly, I like as far as like someone's appearance or you're telling me.
No, let's listen to what they say. Actions speak louder than words.
Well, I mean, exactly. I don't care what your appearance. I'm 100% sure that you guys have all played video games that you absolutely love, made by people who look way more over the top progressive than this person does. Because people who work in the video game industry are sometimes a little socially what's the word for it?
Retarded?
No, not necessarily. It's just outcasts tend to get into video games, right? And then outcasts tend to maybe get really good at them and think, maybe I can make my own one of these. And then they end up doing it, right? So I would never judge a video game based on what one of the developers looks like or how I think.
But that's the senior narrative designer. So that's the fact that they're outwardly signaling.
Maybe. I actually agree with Marc on this. It's like I want to see your product before I make any judgments. Okay, it is a warning sign. For sure, it's a warning sign. But if the game is good, I'm gonna play it. That's at the end of the day. That's all that matters.
I don't know what that person's pronouns are, but I'll just go with that person did specifically say we want to make an Indiana Jones story for
modern audiences.
And that's the red flag term generally. But at the same time, I've heard that term be used in context that people have taken ultra politically when it's like, no, what they're talking about is just changing the camera system in the game, guys.
Well, I mean, Cell Shade brings up a good point.
No, but the thing is, in Dead Space remake and stuff, they'll be like, we added some gameplay features that will modernize the game, and then people are like, oh my god, it's gonna be super woke, and I'm like, no, guys. When they then went on to say we're gonna let it so that you can go around the Ishimura and freely explore instead of having to only be in certain places during certain chapters. So you can go back and do other stuff.
Dead Space was done mostly right. They did gender swap some of the stuff, some of the audio logs, just to make that more modern audiences.
I mean, but is that the kind of thing that really registers within? Is that the kind of reason? Is that the kind of thing
that stuff wasn't part of the main narrative? So it was not really that big of, it wasn't a big deal.
I mean, also I think the bigger problem I have with it is I thought that recasting Hammond was a bad idea, but funny enough, that actor that they recast pops up in the fucking Indiana Jones trailer. It's the dude who plays Candyman from Final Destination. So that guy was in the original Dead Space, but he's not in the remake. It's another guy that I don't think that actor's is good.
Tony Todd.
And I was like, and when I saw this, I was like, maybe Tony Todd was just busy with Indiana Jones, so that's why he couldn't do the Dead Space one. I don't know that for sure, but anyways, what I'm saying is, I thought the German antagonist dude that they have with the broken nose and everything, he seemed pretty intimidating. I didn't think his lines seemed particularly poorly written or anything like that. So when it comes to judging the story of this game, I've really got nothing to say other than I hope it's good. It seemed like I thought Marcus seemed spot on. I was like, okay, that looks exactly like Marcus, sounds exactly like Marcus. That Marcus Brody, I thought was probably the most, oddly enough, the most impressive visual thing in the trailer.
Troy Baker, though, what do you think about him as?
That's what I wanted to ask.
Honestly, I thought he was okay. I mean, he sounds like it does sound like Troy Baker when you listen for it, and
it sounds like his Aaron Black voice from Mortal Kombat 11.
And it kind of sounds like him doing an Indiana, like a Harrison Ford impression, but it's not spot on. So I think anyone who just wanted it to be, one-to-one Harrison Ford, it's like, well, I mean, he didn't exactly nail that, but I think it was close enough that, this is, it's not like Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb had a spot on Harrison Ford.
No, but that game was from almost 20 years ago.
So I know, but what I mean is a lot of video games based on legendary movies where the actor is now old tend to just get sound-alikes instead of trying to.
It's like I always think back to the Jedi Outcast and all those. They got Billy D, but they couldn't bring in Mark Hamill for a reason.
It's weird because Mark Hamill's done a lot of video game work.
Right, right. The Wing Commander.
No, yeah.
Just real quick, shout out to Mephisto for that raid, dude. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mephisto.
Thank you, Mephisto. But Mark Hamill played Majima in Yakuza 1.
Yeah, right.
Like one of the best characters in the series, too.
The thing is, what I wanted to add about Troy Baker is like, yeah, you guys are right. He is doing like a Harrison Ford impressions, and some of his lines do just sound like him, and some of it I think are absolutely spot on. I mean, it's better than using AI or some.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing I'm going to land on. Is like, look, Troy Baker, he'll do a good job. He'll do a good enough job at least. I don't think he's. Okay, look, I've been focusing on some poor voice acting in one of the games that I've been playing on my streams. It is the only one of the 2 Yakuza games that are English dubbed. This is an English dub that was post-launch content because they didn't launch it with the English VA. So this is a game I've already played front to back in Japanese, and it was a great game. I really enjoyed it. I'm now going through it in English. It's not as good, which is a shame to me because Yakuza Like a Dragon, Ichiban's voice actor, Kaiji Tang, knocked it out of the park. So honestly, one of the best video game voice performances I've ever heard. He sells the emotion towards the end in just such an unbelievably real seeming way. Like you seem like he really felt it during the performance as he was giving it. So I kind of want to play Infinite Wealth in English to see Kaiji Tang's new performance. But it's like young. As much as like I'm trying, and in this streams too, and I want to even hear now. I don't want to just shit on Young, right? Like I don't want to just say like the guy sucks and it's terrible.
Bully him.
No. I'm more going that I think he was miscast, not because I don't think he'd do well as a voice actor, because he sounds like a 30-year-old dude from California, and he's playing a 60-year-old person who is canonically does not have very good English, and he like so I'm just like, well, I mean, like at least the other guy who did the English voice, who did voice Kiryu, because Kiryu is in Like a Dragon, he kind of sounded like he was just doing Kevin Conroy Batman.
I don't know, like Yang Ye's voice. Are you a fan of King of the Hill?
Yeah, but like I don't think his
voice sounds like the neighbor Khan's rival, Ted Wasana-san.
Khan,
yeah. He doesn't sound like Khan, but he sounds like Ted Wasana-san, the other Laotian man.
Was from Laos. That's what I was saying.
Yeah. But Ted was like, he like enunciated everything. He's like, oh, Khan, you are not as successful as Japanese.
Like if you guys want to ever play, and my VODs have it, and we'll probably keep playing through more of Like a Dragon Guide and the Man Who Erased His Name in English until the end, because it's a pretty short game, and the next one's coming out next week, and it picks up right after that. But the thing that I've been trying to do is every time Yang has a good delivery, I make note of it, and I'll say, yeah, he did that. That was a pretty good delivery, guys. Like, let's give him that. So we're trying to be as good faith as possible. And I would seriously, I would have.
You didn't mess it up.
I would have liked nothing more than to fire up that dub and be like, wow, honestly, he's actually pretty good. Like, there's a lot of these sequences where he's just nailing it. But I think the big problem is just he's playing an old man, and he doesn't sound anything like an old man. It's the same issue that Splinter Cell Blacklist had when they recast Michael Ironside with the dude who played Whitney on Smallville, because all of a sudden he sounded like a 25-year-old CW actor. And this is a grizzled Navy SEAL type dude who's been working for a Black Ops agency for like 20 years. And he's supposed to be in his like 60s. So, and he sounded like Michael Ironside since the original game. So you can't go from that to a guy that's like, all right, I guess we have a mission to take on, don't we? It's like, you don't sound like Sam Fisher. I'm sorry, you don't. Even if you're a good actor, and I liked you on Smallville, you still do, you're not playing. You're miscast here, and that actually got me thinking. The best thing Sega could do that would make them some money, and I would gladly play. They could charge me $20. Get Michael Ironside to record a Kiryu track and release that as DLC. Because if they're like, okay, we'll take the guy they fired from Splinter Cell and put him as Kiryu, that would be perfect. Like Michael Ironside's voice for Kazuma Kiryu in English would be spot on. It would be, like, he wouldn't even have to do a Japanese accent or anything, because it's just like a dude that sounds like that sounds as intimidating as Kazuma Kiryu should be, because effectively the easiest way to describe him and describe how he should be performed, he's Japanese mafia Batman. He even has a Commissioner Gordon in Date.
Also, Mark, I wanted to mention like 3 things about Indiana Jones. Going back to Troy Baker, the way he delivered the line, like, "Do you have any idea how old that was?" I thought that was easily one of the best lines in the trailer, and did very much sound like Harrison Ford. But it surprises me that I see his name in like nearly every game. Like, what's happening? Is the list of game voice actors really short? Because I see Troy Baker in everything.
Honestly, I think it's just that he has a good resume and a good agent at this point. Same with Laura Bailey. Like anyone who's in any way connected to Critical Role and those group of people, they're all video game voice actors and they all get a whole lot of work. Yeah. I would kill for Troy Baker to have been Cosmo Kiryu instead of Young Gap.
Now, one thing I can say,
Cosmo Kiryu could have just done Joel, and I'd be like, oh, okay, he sounds like he's from Texas, whatever. He sounds like a grizzled badass. That's all I need for Kiryu.
Historically, there are actors that get a ton of video game roles. I remember in the 6th generation, you couldn't look at any credits without finding Phil Lamar, Mad TV fame.
Yeah,
Phil Lamar,
Samurai Jack.
Yeah,
Martian Manhunter.
Fiction. Like,
oh shit! Guy who refuses to apologize for playing non-black roles.
And now Deborah Wilson
in Justice League, if I'm not mistaken.
Samurai Jack. He's an honorary Japanese man.
Yeah, he was Aquaman. He was Jon Stewart, and he wasn't Martian Manhunter, but he did a third voice.
No, I think he was Martian Manhunter.
No, he was not Martian Manhunter, but he was Aquaman.
Also,
yeah, he was.
The other 2 things I wanted to mention about the Indiana Jones games. First of all, I'm pretty sure the title leaked before this trailer released. I gotta say, it sounds stupid. The Great Circle, like, come on, give it a more grand, epic name. I suppose it's something to do in historical events that they explained. I suppose you have to look into that.
Oh, you're talking about Carl Jung. Yeah, you're right.
I mean,
the Great Circle. I mean, it's just.
I guess on the level I tend to analyze video games, like the title is the last thing I'm really going to get blown out, like beaten up about one way or the other. Because I mean, ultimately, I want the game to be good, but I didn't even mention my primary concern with it is that it's going to feel mostly like watered down T-rated Wolfenstein, because even the premise is pretty similar. Because one thing that both Indiana Jones and BJ Blazkowicz have very much in common is they're all about stopping the Nazis from getting either occult or alien shit and then slaughtering the world with it. That's what both of those characters do. So and I'm just like, well, I've been playing machine games about, putting hatchets into the necks of Nazis and having great blood effects and cool animations for like a decade now. And I don't know how excited I'm going to be to do it as Indiana Jones, but without any of the blood or like visceral stuff that makes playing those games kind of crazy. Now, granted, my biggest complaint with New Colossus, though, is I thought his level design was kind of bad, which is funny because they've been making really good Quake maps for the last little while that they've been putting into the remasters. But I'm iffy on the writing, because I thought that New Colossus's story was good, but also a lot of the writing was a bit awkward and clunky. And I thought that the first 2 games, so New Order and Old Blood, those ones are firm recommendations. Play those. Were great. And that New Colossus was a bit of an iffy one. And that the next one that came out was technically a different studio that made it, with Machine Games just assisting. So I'm like, I don't know what to expect from the writing. It's like, well, maybe it'll be great because I've seen them do great stories. Maybe it'll be kind of suck, and maybe it'll be kind of shitty and go out of its way to be, I don't know, like for modern audiences in the sense that most people dislike the most. Because one scene that actually I didn't hate in New Colossus that a lot of people criticize is there's one scene where BJ gets into a room and starts having a conversation with an American, but he's a communist. And he's talking about joining up with his forces because they've been fighting against the Nazis in this region. And they do it almost in an interesting way because it's in the form of a debate between a World War II veteran, like American, basically like liberal Democrat type dude, like a conservative, effectively. He's like a World War II, big square jawed, like Marine guy. And they have a talk where BJ is kind of making the capitalism good argument, And BJ is also the hero of the game. So if you're like, oh yeah, and then they have this guy shouting communist propaganda at you, it's like, yeah, but he's arguing with the main character who's like, yeah, well, all that Bolshevik stuff's fucking retarded. I was like, I didn't hate that. But at the same time, maybe I misread it. And maybe they were trying to make BJ look like the fool, because I think if they made that, I think if Disney made that same scene now, yeah, he'd be like, well, but what about all the food we have under capitalism? You don't think you could get that food? Like, they'd make the communist guy super cool, and they go out of their way to make BJ look like a doofus. But in that scene, he doesn't look like a doofus. He looks like
2017. I agree with you too. I mean, I viewed it as nuanced. Like, you know, I've had this discussion with people, like, where people are like, "Oh, Star Trek was always political," and I was like, "Yeah, well, Star Trek used to be nuanced, where it was up to the audience to interpret things as they pleased," and that's what I got out of it. And I think that a game that came out in 2017 was probably worked on for 4 years. It's probably started its life in 2012, it probably started in 2014, right after Wolfenstein New Order came out.
New Colossus.
No, New Colossus was the second one. But there was one that came out before that was a Bethesda published one, because before that it was
New Order, Old Blood, and then New Colossus. So New Order was the first one.
That's
Old Blood
right.
The side story one, but actually Old Blood is the one that's a remake of Wolfenstein 3D.
Right.
Segments, and the first one is you're a prisoner in Wolfenstein and you escape. Okay,
yeah, because the Machine Games one is connected to the Activision one that came out that's delisted, because it's got
that's always been iffy.
Yes, because the girl that was in the suit in the beginning of the second one, she was in that game.
Sure, but the thing with it is, because of the different publishers and that being a rights thing,
it's arguable.
They've always tried to make it seem that, like, yeah, Wolfenstein, the one that's just called Wolfenstein, is nebulously canon to this. Like, it might be, it might not. You can play that one if you want, and then view it as the one that came before all these ones. But I think Old Blood was them going like, yeah, this is the Wolfenstein 3D story that we're doing in this little. Because I mean, Wolfenstein 3D is a pretty short game. It's not ultra long, but they have you do the thing from that one and then launch into the series from there. But I think that the big thing is they've been working on this game for a long time, but also I don't see that work jumping out at me on screen as a game that is above and beyond anything I think they could ever do. Because as much as I loved Indiana, love old Indiana Jones. Like, I'll say this, in the trailer, they did only show the 3 movies when they were showing the titles on it. I was pretty happy about that. They're like, well, now we've loved the Indiana Jones movies, and they just let it go. Temple of Doom, Last Crusade, and then stop. And I was like, okay.
Nice.
On the topic of games, you shared with me over Twitter that you got your first ratio in.
Yeah.
This would be a fun one to look at. So this comes from
anybody before, but yeah, it's a fun one. Didn't do it on purpose either. That was just my honest reply.
So I'm not sure who this account is, but it's
a PlayStation Fanboy account.
It's a PlayStation Fanboy. So it says add Indiana Halo to the Great Circle. So this is just kind of showing some comparisons. You have Halo Infinite and
Halo 76.
Yeah, Halo 76.
Bright Halo is supposed to be Bright Memory.
Yeah.
Haloom is supposed to be Doom. Halo Fire X, Crossfire X, which sucked, by the way. Hawker 2, Stalker 2, it's not out yet. Outer Halos or Outer Worlds, that is out. Haloop, or I guess Deathloop, which is stupid.
Scorn.
Yeah, Scorn, which, God, like, if you're going to even put one up there, it's like, no one cares about Scorn. And then Wolfenstein. And so my reply is, because basically you're saying, yeah, all the Xbox games are first-person shooters. And being that they're all derivative of Halo, right? Like, so that's how it's just like, so your claim is that all these games are just Halo derivatives. And so my reply is just, oh, yes. I mean, I guess if you want to bring it up. I can't even see it there. Sorry, I'm looking at a small screen. I don't want to misquote myself when it's written on the screen. It'll be embarrassing.
Or it just says, my writing isn't bad. You just can't read.
Brian Johnson in a nutshell.
Oh no, but the ratio is actually the first one up at the top.
Yeah, we ratioed on both of them at this point.
Oh yeah, no, even my replies to him are ratioing his OP, which is kind of funny. But what I said was like, oh yeah, well yes, Wolfenstein. Can you see what that says? Because I can't read it from.
It says, yes, Wolfenstein and Doom, the most famous Halo ripoffs.
Yeah, because I just didn't want to misread my own quote and look like a dumbass. I can't physically see it from where I am; it's too small. But yeah, so because I mean, Wolfenstein was basically the first ever first-person shooter, and Doom was the first one that showed it could be unreal, just insane.
I'm gonna bookmark this one because I can't wait to see if this guy starts getting all up and excited about Marathon when it comes out, as if it's some great. Yet again, like I have no affiliations to any platform. I have everything. I have PC, PlayStation, Xbox, Quest. So, but
I don't have a Quest, although I was debating thinking of saving up.
I'm telling you.
The reason I want to get it for X-Ray Girl, though, just don't tell her this, okay? Everybody.
Way to tell the audience she doesn't watch this show.
Well, I mean, no, like I mean,
tell her.
X-Ray Girl has no time to watch it. She has not watched a video I've made in like 3 years. Don't worry about X-Ray Girl not having the time to watch it, man. She's busy. I barely have time.
I absolutely understand.
We're lucky if we can get a date. But anyways, the oh god, what was I actually talking about? Oh yeah, so she is a absolute Jedi at Beat Saber. Like I have a Valve Index, which requires like sensors to be up, and it's
telling
capable
you.
of everything. And moving
right there, let me tell you why you should get it.
Oh, but I'm okay with it. I'm saying that for X-Ray Girl, her being able to move around in the space that she's in and not have to worry about setup and troubleshooting and stuff, I think will make it a lot more viable for her to do that. And if X-Ray Girl starts streaming Beat Saber, I might be able to retire because she's honestly really good. Like not it's like, hey, she looks pretty while she's doing it, so that's why like Girl Gamer will make money, because obviously it's no, she's talented at the game. She just levels me, destroys me. I can't even touch the difficulty. She'll flat out sight read. The sight read being the musical term for just like getting a sheet of music and being able to play it off the top of your head, not practicing first. She'll just sight read expert plus levels in Beat Saber, and it just hit every single block. And I'm just like, how are you? Like, where did you learn to do that? I was like, I gotta get you some swords.
Because you can do Steam Link natively off of it now, and it works flawlessly if you have especially if a Wi-Fi 6 router, it works like flawlessly. You can also do I have a 10-foot USB-C cable. But as far as versatility, it amazed me, and we didn't have it in the notes, but the Apple Vision Pro actually sold out. Granted, they were
I did not put it in the notes because we've spoken about that twice, and I got attacked both times because I want to live in a pod.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing I don't understand about it is it's a $3,500 headset, whereas you can get a Quest 2 for in at about $200. And
two you could get for probably even cheaper, maybe if you look on secondary market.
That's what I'm saying is like and that does everything the 3 does. 3 has a better processor, better graphics, and all, but it's marginal. But I mean, still, it's a very versatile headset. If you're looking for an entry into doing PC VR, you can do it with that. They actually just added a Xbox cloud gaming app to it. You can pair your Xbox controller directly to the headset, and it side loads. So as far as
have you seen the Cat VR? KAT VR? It's like a treadmill. It's pretty cool.
No,
honestly, they're like
it looks like a little trampoline, and I have seen that.
Shoes that you wear that you can actually like run on the thing, and even though it's not moving, it's just like material that you can run on, and you have a harness that holds you in place. I was like, man, if I could put that thing right here, I would start streaming the shit out of VR games. And I'll tell you why that would be the thing that would do it, and I can't just do it here because I do play VR games here, but also I wouldn't stream it because at any moment I could crash because I have one leg. I can't tell when I've wrapped a cable around it. But if I'm in a thing with a harness that is preventing me from falling, it's like, oh, I'm gonna show you guys how I can fight. It's pretty good. I'm not bad at VR shooters. I can aim well in video games.
So Extra Zero, you got the memes prepped?
Yeah, let me go ahead and we'll get those up. I was going to ask if we wanted to get into Echo, but I know we're getting close.
Yeah, we have 10
time.
minutes left. So
we'll go ahead and we'll get these memes up because we do actually have quite a bit today. So
yes,
we go ahead and get everything prepped here, and here we. Oh, let me make sure I have audio for some of these too. So that's always
great audio.
I just always want to make sure that we do. Anyway, without further ado, that's the wrong button. There we are. All right. So let's get into some of these. Kicking it off. I had tipped this one off when Blabs came in and says, Blabs entering the Legion of Memers channel, channeling Tommy Wiseau to greet Marc.
Marc, how many times have you seen this meme?
Enough that I know that I'm currently sleeping with Blabs' girlfriend.
Then we get this one from
and
Skirmitar.
Oh god, what did Skirmitar do? You know, if Skirmitar makes something, it's going to be both inappropriate and hilarious.
You aren't the real RoboCop? Listen, if your mature lady won't be able to satisfy you, I'm sure I'll find someone younger that would be happy to help.
I've got bitches up on my dick.
You are.
I gotta play that again.
Real RoboCop? I'm sure I'll find someone younger that would be happy to help.
I've got bitches up on my dick.
I honestly don't remember saying those words on a stream at any point.
Oh, Skirmitar, what have you done, man? What have you done?
Oh, let's check this out. This has to be good. Let's read what he had to say. He said the scene was indeed a mistake. Had to change the music. So let's see what we got here. Oh wait, I don't have any audio on this one. So
was I referring to that song that X-Ray Girl likes?
Oh my god, dude!
I might have.
Someone making some pottery.
Oh, dude.
The
audio's a bit low on that Skirmitar, so like,
yeah, I got it. I got it all the way
it's
up
all
there.
good. Let's move on to the next one, please.
All right, next up, Metastep saying Extra Zero bragging about his meats. I did make some filet mignon today, so
nice.
Apparently, that guy's steakhouse is not very good.
Yeah, I heard it's
one in Vegas,
really
and then
bad.
the people I was with were like, "Yeah, apparently it's shit." I was like, "Really? He's so famous, though."
Well, that's the thing is he's just
He's
going
literally all sizzle, no steak.
Yes. We get this one from Tris. True or false, ladies? If you spit, is that child? Ladies, if you spit, that's child abuse as well.
Thank you, Tris. Thank you, classing up the place.
I mean, I don't think it matters one way or the other to the potential children.
Oh my God! Here we go.
Release the McCracken.
Audio.
Powers.
Here, we'll get that down.
Just number 2. That's right, son. You show that turd who's boss.
There you go.
There we go.
Oh, that's when we were talking about the being vulnerable in toilets, I think. Yeah.
Why is that not working? Why is that not loading?
X-Ray Boys is one I get a lot, but I do get that.
I don't know why this isn't.
Yeah, it's not. You can see it though, so it's fine.
Yeah.
He is an X-ray boy.
From the Serious Man, we get the Justice League of Memers. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I know your
Maybe
internet's
Twitter is
not
down.
doing too well right now.
Yeah. Then we get from Tris Pole. He's from the South Pole. The true origins of true pop culture.
How?
Also from Tris, we get from Lethal Lightning, where Lethal said he's a sex symbol. And here's Mons saying, "Okay, Grandpa, let's get you your old people meds." I don't know that I can share this one.
Yeah, just Tris, these are great, but some of them I can't play just because of the audio.
We get also from Tris.
Pause D-Days before you start.
Yeah. So we get his reading skills are a crime with Masa.
Me fail English? That's impossible.
All right,
so DJ McLean, I would love to play this, but I can't because of the South Park stuff. So if you guys want to go check this out, go check out the Legion of Memers thread. Drop a like, get a retweet, drop a comment, because it is very, very, very good.
Very good.
And great job on the memes, everybody. Thank you so much for kicking it up and now bringing the laughs. My favorite was actually the one with Marc in it. To be honest with you, that killed me.
The only circumstance that I think in which I would ever say those words is talking about a song that X-Ray Girl listens to, where the lyrics literally are, I got bitches all on my dick and every day, sucking on my balls, licking on my balls, and like, you know, it keeps on going.
Everybody clip that, make that a remix. Here we go.
Skirmitar, I hope you're watching.
No, but it's the only thing that makes sense, because I feel like I would never say those words, even as a joke, in the tone that I said them, because I seem dead serious, at least in that RoboCop meme.
Okay, everybody, we're coming up towards 4 o'clock, so I just want to make sure everybody has their outros because I know it's getting late. CJP, mate, what do you got coming up this week?
I've got TJ the Gamer from Master Sword Music hopping on the Forgotten One cast. I've got a couple of tracks that from the album I've got to put back on the YouTube channel. But my new album, Electronic Noise 2 Digital Boogaloo, is available on Bandcamp, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and a couple other places. Pandora as well. So both of my synthwave albums are now available for everyone. And then I'm also just a hairbreadth away from getting monetized. Nice. I'm like 33 subs short and like a good 40 watch hours. That's all I got left.
Nice, dude. Nice. Let's get him to the monetization. Go follow his channel and go watch those videos. True Pop Culture, what do you got coming up this week?
Yeah, check out my Kick channel. You can easily find it on my YouTube channel. If you click in the links, it should be there. Yeah, it was fun to hang around with Marc. Like the stream, talking all about video games. Yeah, that's all I had to chill out, unless I'm forgetting something, which I probably am. But hey,
go check out his Twitter, where you can find all his coverage of different shows. He's been covering Side Scrollers, so go check out some of those clips.
Oh, I'll be on Side Scrollers on Thursday.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, so True Pop Culture, get ready for that.
With John C.J. Graham, I believe. RB and the chief creator. Great guy, John. I've been on a few shows with him. It actually
stop buttering me up with the memes, by the way.
Extra Zero, what do you got coming up this week?
Yeah, so we've just got a figure action on Thursday. If you're into collecting, we cover Transformers, we cover third party, we cover everything going on in the toy world as far as news and conventions coming up. We're obviously getting ready for Chinese New Year to start impacting a lot of the releases, so that's always a fun topic.
Nice. And lucky money.
Exactly.
I'm in an Asian family now, everybody. We do the Chinese New Year stuff.
When did they start trying to call it Lunar New Year? I feel like that's a relatively new thing.
My family doesn't.
I mean, most people I know still call it Chinese New Year, and then just everybody else. It's like the new Latinx thing.
I mean, I guess theoretically, my family is primarily Vietnamese, but I mean, they still call it Chinese New Year.
So we got that on Thursday at 9, and then of course, I'll be meeting Side Scrollers as much as I can throughout the week. Project's been getting in the way, and then good, of course, here on Saturday we've got a fun guest lined up for next week, so I'm really excited for that show. We've got Nerd Wars coming on, so be here next Saturday because that's going to be an awesome show. Really looking to digging into his process for the stuff that he creates and talking about it. Really good conversation coming up. So you're not going to want to miss that show next week.
It's going to be great. I can't wait to get into his editing because he's been doing some great work. Marc, what do you got coming up?
Well, tonight, probably after I just top up my coffee and get myself settled, I'm going to be streaming the last 4 chapters of Like a Dragon Ishin, which is the aforementioned historical drama Yakuza game with a crazy combat. It's been a lot of fun so far. The storyline's really kicked into high gear, and at the beginning of every chapter, they give you a previously on too. So if you're just jumping in, you'll be able to be caught up. And I don't think I have anything else going on this week except for next Sunday. So not tomorrow, but the following one. I'll be on Metal's Forge at 11 a.m. Metal Commander's channel. Do you guys know Metal Commander?
Yeah.
It's a Mahler's friend, yeah, he's a good guy, but yeah, we'll be on Metals Forge, and we'll be just talking about stuff for the first Metals Forge of 2024. And then on Thursday, I'll be on Side Scrollers with John, who also has been on Metal Forge with me a bunch of times. We had a really good talk with Fringy. It was the three of us and Fringy talking about Tears of the Kingdom. So if you like Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, you can see us talking about it for 5 hours in excruciating detail.
Metastep, to answer your question, we use all kinds, whatever fits the meme or the or whatever it is that we're making. We've gotten permission from a lot of people, I think including you as well, to use the music. So thank you guys for that. We try and mix and match with it. So appreciate you. I am going to be taking on as much paid work as I can, so I can make it to the meetup, because that is the priority for me right now. Even if I have to fly in at night and then come back in the morning, I don't care. I am going to get there and hopefully see everybody. So thank you all for watching Legion Memers Meme Stream. We can't wait for next week. And thank you again to Marc the Cyborg for coming on. It's always great having you. So big shout out to you, my dude.
Yeah, I'll always come on as long as I'm available. I'll pop on pretty much any stream that invites me. So
sweet. Well, you can always reach out. You're always invited, man. Always.
Cool.
So Extra Zero. Let's say goodnight to everybody, and we will see you guys next week. And make sure you check out the shorts on the channel. We will be releasing them more often. Go have some fun. I'm experimenting with some stuff, and I learned shorts, and I'm doing a pretty good job of them. So.
Oh, I'll also try my best to be at the meetup as well. So stay tuned with that. Not 100% confirmed, but I'll do my best. All right. See you guys.
Bye, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night, all.
Later.